Candice on deck with evil dead chick. What's in store when you open the door? Step inside, my little ones. Bring your flashlight and good luck charms. Oh, and good luck charms. Oh. Might get dark. It might get scary. Maybe even a little insane. Crawl out from under the bed. Don't be afraid. Evil Dead Chick is here to entertain and thrill. Candice on deck with Evil Dead Chick. Let's hang out till the sun comes up. Foolish with Dana and Candice. Let's talk about movies and TV, music, books, or whatever strikes our fancy. Let's get excited, let's get weird, let's get foolish. Let's talk about movies and TV, music, books, or whatever strikes our fancy. Let's get excited. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. Let's get foolish. Let's get foolish. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Okay. StreamYard still got that screwed up where when I add myself, I turn out small. So they fix one thing and they screw something else up. So they shouldn't do that as much as I'm paying them per month. But, it is what it is. But before we get started, of course, I'm going to do some housekeeping stuff. Now, gang, this is going to be a shorter than normal show because I have a watch along that I'm doing with Hope for Terrifier 3. I hope you guys will tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for that. And Candice has got some family duties she's got to take care of. So we both have reasons for making this one a little bit shorter than normal. But I wanted to show off, I don't know how many of you have tried the Thin Mint Frosties from Wendy's, but I was actually able to get one with the mix in, and it tastes pretty good. It tastes pretty much like a Thin Mint, Girl Scout cookie. So if you've been on the fence about whether or not to get these and you like Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, I think you're really going to like this. And I've heard that they're soon going to be offering it in a chocolate version. So when the chocolate version comes out, I'm definitely going to get that as well. So, but because this is a live stream and I really want to get this movie roulette started, if somebody wants to give a $5 or more super chat during this Friday Foolish episode or during the watch along that me and Hope are going to do here shortly, you can give me any movie you choose for me to do a review on an upcoming movie roulette. And it doesn't matter if 5 people do it, 10 people do it, 20 people do it. Eventually, I will get to your movie and we'll be reviewing it on an upcoming movie roulette. Okay. So keep that in mind. Y'all keep voting on the next watch along choices. We've got a two-way tie with the Saturday choices, I think. So get in there, get your votes in, and make sure that you make your voice heard about which movie you want me to cover for these next two watch alongs. Of course, I'll have a bunch of stuff coming up next week. I've got a couple of watch alongs coming up this weekend. We've got Evil Laugh on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm trying the 9 p.m. Time slot to see how that works. So Saturday is Evil Laugh. Sunday is Chopping Mall. So if you like either one of those movies, or even if you don't even know what they are and you want to see what it's all about, be sure to tune in this weekend for that. I've got a new Soup and Jallows coming up. It's probably going to drop on Sunday. Yes, we are going to be talking about David Lynch here shortly. In particular, we're going to focus on Twin Peaks. Got all of that coming up. Plus, I've got more cannon fodder, more Dick's picks, more. They're all messed up. So stay tuned for all of this coming up. And now, without further ado, I'm going to add Candice, and we're going to talk briefly about a new. It is AI. It is AI. Don't judge me too harshly for using AI. Actually, that one's not AI. That one is an actual picture of David Lynch, and that was turned into a cartoon. So that is definitely not AI, just to correct you on that. But I do use AI from time to time, so don't judge me too harshly on that. So, and I would also like to, I see we've got 13 people in here now. That's a great welcome for me and Candice for our comeback. This is our, our comeback. But we are going to be premiering a new segment on Friday Foolish. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and add Candice here real quick, and we're going to talk about this new segment real quick. Hey, Candice.
Hey, Dana. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. What church you got on today, Candice?
Hello.
Oh, cool.
Fire Godzilla.
I like that one. I haven't seen that particular artwork before, so that's pretty cool.
It's Chris's. It's not mine.
Oh, well, one of the perks of being married is we can borrow our husband's stuff sometimes. Sometimes I borrow Steve's shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chris, you say Candice isn't on screen?
Huh?
I can see her. I hope she's on screen. Candice, can you see yourself from your side?
Myself, yeah.
Okay. You just see me, Chris?
Well, there's not much I can do about that. I'm on my phone, so I don't know if there's some kind of weird.
Let me see. Let me make sure.
We may.
Yeah, I got the right layout. Well, the poet's saying the same. Gee.
Well, listen, I'd be happy to stay.
Well, I changed the layout. Let me change it back to this, because this is what we always have.
I don't understand. I see myself, and you see me, right?
Oh, well, Chris says there we go.
Oh, I wonder what happened.
I don't know. I think StreamYard has done something kind of, screwy. So can y'all both see Candice now? Because I don't want to be the only one here on the screen. That would be bad.
It's a one-on-one.
Hey, TJ. TJ's calling us Dandis. He's combining our names. So that works, TJ.
Arc and stuff. I have to do this on my phone right now. I don't have my computer, and it's making it kind of hard for me to So I can barely hear you, so I don't know. If I don't answer, then just let me know.
Okay. Well, let me adjust my mic because can you hear me okay now? Can you hear
Yeah,
me any better? Okay.
can you hear me and everything okay?
Yep, I can hear you too. So now that I've got Candace on here, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the new segment that we're going to kind of sort of premiere this evening for you guys. It won't be a full on segment, but we're so excited about it, we kind of wanted to show it off a little bit. So it's going to be called Totally Trivia, and I have to give Candace credit for bringing this idea to my attention. And when she did, I was like, yeah, that's a really cool um, thing that we can do, because I love trivia. I know a lot of other people love trivia. Candace loves trivia. Chris loves it. And once we get this thing rolling, we're going to have some special guests that are going to come up with some questions to ask us. And you guys and gals in the chat can play along as well and see if you know the answers to some of the questions we're going to bring up. And it's not all going to be movies, it's not all going to be music, it's going to be a variety of things that we're going to do. We're going to really pick from the wellspring, I guess you could say. We're going to dip into that pool and pull out a lot of questions. So um, we're going to premiere that a little later. Probably, what do you think, Candace, after we talk about the David Lynch stuff? We'll do that real quick before we get off.
Sure, that's not going to be a real long because this is a short episode. It's not going to be anything long or anything like that. So, yeah, I think towards the end we can debut that if you want to.
Okay.
We
And
figured it's fun, to get
yeah,
interacting, with other people too, and just something to do.
yeah, something new to do that we wanted to try out, and I hope you guys and gals enjoy it as well. So we are going to focus on Twin Peaks in particular, because even though it's been several weeks since we did the last David Lynch special, Candace and I both have just been so busy, we just did not get a chance to watch some of that extra David Lynch stuff. And who knows, we may do another David Lynch type of show a little bit later.
Where they at? I mean, just down the road when everything aligns and we get the chance to do that, that'd be fine.
Yeah. And maybe things will settle down for us a little bit and allow us to watch a little more stuff. But I'm just chomping at the bit. Speaking of Twin Peaks, I know that Candace had said she wasn't too jazzed about how the original first two seasons of Twin Peaks ended. And so, Candace, if you don't mind, would you mind sharing your thoughts on that? What you liked, what you didn't like about it?
I mean, I love the second season was probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Second season, I don't know. To me, I enjoyed it, which I love the first season, but it starts out kind of slow, and I think that's the reason why I had given because that was like my second or third try of trying to watch it, and I think the reason why was because it just kind of starts out a little bit slow, and so whenever the second season comes in, there's a lot that's going on, and I really loved it, but I don't know, when I watched the ending, the last episode, it leaves you on that kind of cliff hanger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I think you've told me that before, that you don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, just the way. I mean, if it had a third, which it does, later on down the line, it does. The third, I've not got to that yet. I guess they call it the third season. I don't know. It just seems to me like it would have been better if it would have went. Which I've not seen it though, so I'm not going to talk out of turn because I could watch the newer episodes or whatever, and it just all fall into place. I think you've said you've seen them, so you say that it explains a lot and goes into more. So I want to try to keep an open mind.
Uh-huh.
That works out whenever I go and actually watch it again. But I thought he was taking a really good turn until that last episode. And I'm like,
Right, right.
so yeah.
So, the third season, I'm not going to give away all of the, the secrets of that, but it does explain a little more what, because it did leave you hanging.
Yeah.
The end of the original second season left you hanging. You didn't really know, well, what happened to Agent Cooper? What exactly happened to him?
You know what?
And so that is revealed in the third season. Um, but I must be totally honest, and I don't want to bust Candice's bubble here because she might be excited about potentially watching the third season. I did not like the third season nearly as much as I did those original first two seasons. I know there was 20 something years between the end of the second season and this new batch of stuff. So the landscape had changed, obviously.
It loses its luster with time. You know what
Mhm. Yeah. And
I mean?
I I think that when Twin Peaks originally came out, the people that loved it because it was so different. It was so different than anything that was on TV at that point in time. And it just blew people's minds. I know it blew mine. And then several years, a bunch of years later, when I revisited it, it blew my mind in a whole different way because I was young when I watched it. I was teenage
Yeah.
years when I watched it originally. And so I was a married woman when I watched it, again. And I was like, I saw it in a whole different way. I understood things differently, understood them better. And I was like, David Lynch is a genius. The man is a genius.
And I can feel where you're coming from on that because whenever I first attempted to watch Twin Peaks, I was a lot younger, a lot
Mhm.
probably in my teens, early teens, and I couldn't get past, like I would get like to the middle of the first season and then I would stop. And then me and Chris, when we got married and we was living in our first home, and I had already had my son, um, I attempted to watch it again, and it still was not clicking with me. But then whenever I watched it here recently, it's like I seen it in a whole different light,
Mhm.
totally different. I don't know if it's just something that I had to get older to kind of understand it, or if I was just being impatient then, or and as you get older, your taste change as well. So that could be something that happens. So I understand where you're coming from with that.
Right. TJ has a trivia question for us right now, and I don't know or can't remember. He says, "Who killed Laura Palmer originally in the alternate version of the pilot?"
Mm-mm. I don't know.
Does anybody in the chat know the answer to that question?
It's a good question.
Hmm.
See, I like stuff like that. I love trivia quick because even if you don't know it, when you find the answer, that's something new that you've learned. So
Hmm.
we want. So
So me and Candace are stuck on that one, TJ. But if anybody knows in the chat, please, yell it out there. Um, I don't even know if I've watched the alternate version of the pilot, to be honest.
I know I've not.
Um, but I love the way Candace explained that. And, that's about all the insight I want to give anybody to the third season, because I'm afraid if I go too far into it, it will completely ruin it for anybody that's thinking about, watching it. And Twin Peaks is something you don't want to spoil for people.
No, and you kind of want to go to it blindly. That's why I never looked into it because I always wanted to finish it. I always wanted to watch the series, but I didn't want to go in because I wanted to be surprised. I didn't want to know what was going on, and because I knew it was weird, and I mean that in a good way. Uh, like it, it was it took you on a roller coaster of weirdness. I mean, but in a good way. So, especially that last episode, I'm telling you, I wasn't expecting any of that. So it just kind of like, it just like everything was going along, and all of a sudden, just boom, everything just went awry. So,
Exactly.
to what happens, but it's just, there you go. I don't want to give no spoilers, and I hope I'm not already. But just if you've never seen it, go watch it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. What
Mhm.
did you think of the final episode, Dana?
The-
Or how-
Well, I kind of was bamboozled, is
Yeah,
what yeah, you felt like, or I felt like, that somebody had punched me in the throat and then turned around and punched me in the gut. And if I had been a guy, I would have felt like they kicked me in my nether regions. Uh, because it just, like Candace said, it just, everything just busted
yeah,
wide open and went crazy.
yeah. It literally did.
Hmm. Yeah, Chris says bamboozled.
Uh, Goodness.
But I did. I was just like, I think both times, more so the second time when I rewatched it, I was sitting there probably with my mouth open. I'm sure my mouth was hanging open, and I
I,
was like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, so, and then it was one of those things like when it was over and the credits were rolling, it was like I sat there and I tried to analyze things and I couldn't even analyze it.
but yeah, seriously. I mean, like Dana, just what you just said kind of hit the nail right on the head. It's like you don't even know what to, like, how to even break it down as to what happened. It's like, okay, but then it kind of makes sense.
Hmm.
But then you're like, why? You know what happened, but why?
Hmm.
Why did it happen? So, yeah, it's
Exactly.
fun though. I mean, it's a fun series. I mean, that's something. I mean, that's what that's what I liked about it so much, is because it was fun.
Yes. Hey, Greg. We are doing good. I hope you are doing well. And I wanted to say hey to John. I said hey to John in the chat, but I also wanted to say hey to him kind of in person. John says, I need to watch Twin Peaks. I've only seen 2 to 3 episodes. Oh, yes, John. I highly, highly recommend
First,
it.
so slow, but once you get in there, I mean, it's a fast roller coaster of
Yeah.
stuff that you can't even imagine. Only David Lynch, that it's out of his world. So if you like that, then you'll like it. So
Hmm.
I,
John also says he just never dove in, but he knows it's good.
yeah,
Um,
it's different, very different. And I can only imagine, because I didn't watch it in its original release. I can only imagine, like, I think you watched it on its original release, correct, Dana?
um,
Like when it was
yeah,
out.
I watched it. The original 2 seasons. When it was on television, I did watch it, and I remember, I think I've told the story before. I remember my dad and I sitting down and watching that pilot,
Yeah,
and being completely engrossed in it, and you started getting into the episodes with the log lady and
yeah,
stuff like that, and the little guy coming to Agent Cooper in his dreams, and Dad tuned out. He was like, I don't get this, but I stuck with it until the end.
yeah. You kind of, I mean, I remember the first time that I watched it, when it started getting into that kind of thing, like where your dad had tuned out.
Hmm.
That is, back then, I was like, oh, this is really weird. I really don't. And, I liked weird stuff. It wasn't that I didn't. It was just too much. It was just, I don't know. It didn't keep my interest, I guess. But last time that I watched it, it just was like, oh, this is just genius. I love it. It's just so. weird how you see things differently, especially when you get older. I've noticed that like I watch stuff now that I would have never watched when I was younger, and vice versa. And it's just weird how your tastes change like that. And Twin Peaks was definitely one of those that I'm glad that I revisited. And, I hate that it came on the heels of him passing away, but what a better way to honor somebody than to watch probably their most famous work,
Mm-hmm.
which I believe is probably his most famous work.
Oh, it's definitely his most talked about
Oh, yeah.
work. Yeah, definitely. Hey, X-Ray. X-Ray says, keeping it foolish tonight, ladies. Yes, we are. Always, always, X-Ray. We are not really discussing movies tonight. We decided to end this David Lynch special by talking about Twin Peaks in particular. So I hope you don't mind, X-Ray, that we're just talking about Twin Peaks this time.
you know.
uh, Chris, you are exactly right. He says taste changes as you get older. Yeah. And not only food, but in movies and books and music and all kinds of things.
That's definitely true. And I don't know. I used to be real snobbish when it came to things, and I didn't want to be as open, like with music or movies and TV shows. I was always like, I like the classics. I like but as I've gotten older, I'm so much more open to newer artists, newer
Mhm.
and television and stuff. And I can't believe that I was such a snob, when it comes to that. Like Youngblood, I would have never probably seen myself liking him years ago. But, it's just as you get older, something happens and just your taste change. It's
Mhm.
a beautiful thing, I think, because I don't know. I was a weird kid. I was so weird. Like, I didn't want to be open to new things.
Mhm.
Kid, you want to be open to new things, but not me. I was the opposite.
I think I went through a spell like that too as a kid, Candace. I think probably all kids do at one point or another. Um, and now, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I'm pronouncing it Alejandro. But if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I'm so sorry. But you're a new person in here, so welcome. But Alejandro says they're showing David's short films tonight at my local indie theater, so that is really cool. That is cool.
Oh yeah, that is really cool. I wish we had stuff like that around here.
Well, we don't even have stuff like that in Louisville. Nobody's like showing David Lynch's stuff, but I do want to talk about my hairdresser, Kim. She is the coolest hairdresser I have ever had. She has her own album that came out. I actually bought her album
Oh,
from her the last time I went and had my hair done, right before the Horror Hound and me and Candice got our picture taken with Robert England. Um, but I did not realize she was so much into David Lynch, but after he passed away, she wrote this big long thing on Facebook. And I was like, wow, Kim, I did not know that you were so much into David Lynch. That was just so cool.
I had a teacher one time. He was my English teacher, and he ended up being a drama teacher at my high school that I went to because he was a grade school English teacher, and he was really big into David Lynch, and he always talked about David Lynch. And when I was a kid, and sixth grade, seventh grade, something like that, and I was like, who is this David Lynch? I didn't know who he was really at the time, but then I realized as I got older, oh, I've seen some of his films before and stuff like that. But he always praised the glory of of David Lynch, and I can tell why now as I've gotten into him more. But I don't know if it's just where I grew up around, or it's not somebody that I heard a lot of people talk about until I got older.
Hmm.
Discovering them, as they got older as well. But people I grew up with, you really didn't hear anybody talk about it. But whenever I went and, Facebook and MySpace and all that stuff comes around,
Right.
you see everybody talking about them. And I'm like, I never knew you'd like it. in high school or grade school or something like
I'm from such a small area that people would look at me like I put my clothes on inside out or something. When I would talk about horror movies, if I talked about David Lynch, they would be like, "Who? What are you talking about? We don't know what that is." And this would be broadcast television stuff, but they did couldn't wrap their head around it. Therefore, they just tuned it out. They were kind of like my dad. It wasn't their cup of tea, and so they just separated themselves from it. Um, John says, we have some theaters near me that do retro stuff, but I'm getting too lazy to go. LOL. I feel like going to cons is about the only thing I enjoy doing besides local movies in town. And he also says they do midnight showings near me about 40 minutes away, but that's hard as shit when you're 40. Oh, believe me, John, I'm going to be 49 this year, so I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it.
that. And I'll tell you, I'm already feeling it. It's that and work and family life, balancing that with work life, and then your life of just you and the things that you like to do. The stuff that you like to do kind of gets put on the back burner, and you kind of don't have time to do that because you're just so tired from working is tiring. you know let alone what you got to do when you got to come home. So
Right, exactly.
you start looking forward towards the weekend if you work 9 to 5 job, like during the week and stuff. So the weekends, but then you just want to rest on the weekends. So I mean, Dana knows. She knows.
Yes, I do. Now, Crater or Chris, I have one thing to say in response to. Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine, son of a bitch, because that comes from a Christmas story.
I'm not able to see him unless I touch it, so I want to see what he's saying. Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not abusing Chris. I'm just, that's the first thing I thought of. It's him saying, son of a bitch. He's like a lousy commercial when he does the code thing and it figures out, don't forget to drink your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine
Or
commercial.
be sure to drink your Ovaltine, I think was exactly the way they put it.
It was a little, wasn't it?
Oh, so Candice, is there anything else you want to add about that before we get to the totally trivia segment?
It's getting close to the time, and I'm excited to debut this. So,
all right, so we're gonna debut the intro, and then me and Candice are gonna give each other a question about David Lynch, and we're gonna see if one or the other can answer these. Or if we can't, maybe you guys and gals in the chat know. So here we go.
Totally fun, totally awesome, totally trivia. With Dana and Candice, it's totally mind-bending, totally unending, totally trivia.
All right. So that is the intro. Maybe next time I'll make it full screen, but I just thought I would make it partial screen and have me and Candice on there too as we were doing that. So, Candice, do you want to go first or do you want me to give you my question?
if you want to go first, that's fine. And I just want to reiterate that this is something this is just a taste of what the show is going, the little segment.
Yes.
Decided just to do one question this time, show you how it is. But I think the when we start really getting into these, I think we're going to do like maybe 5 questions a piece. I don't know,
Yeah.
discuss and see what we're doing. But you can go first.
Okay. So here's your question, Candice, and for the people in the chat as well. What is David Lynch's middle name? And Steve came up with this question. I had to look it up. I didn't know it.
I don't know. Do I get some multiple choice?
Uh, well, maybe not today, but we may do multiple choice. So, does anybody in the chat know David Lynch's middle name?
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess. I'm just gonna guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna say James.
Well, that's a good guess, but not the right answer.
Oh,
Chris, you got it, buddy. Did you look it up? It is Keith.
Keith. That's right. I remember that now. David Keith Lynch. Yes, I remember that because I remember seeing it whenever he passed away. It was like on there. That's right.
Fantastic, Chris. You didn't even look that up. He knew it off the top of his head. I wish I had a prize to give you,
Man,
Chris.
prize. On down.
You learned that a while back. Well, see, I guess I didn't catch that even after he passed away, because when Steve brought up that question, he said, "What's David Lynch's middle name?" I was like, I don't know.
Don't stump me. I didn't know.
So let's see if Candice will stump me. She probably will, because it's late in the day. And
What is, and I think this one is kind of an easy one, but maybe not. I've seen, okay. What is the only David Lynch movie to ever earn a G rating?
the only one to earn a G rating. Holy crap. I should know this. Oh, man. But my brain is just like, there's a big block there. Can I blame it on the COVID? TJ says that Chris is married to you, Candice. That's his prize.
Oh yeah.
Yay! Good answer, TJ.
Fantastic answer.
Well, I don't know, Candice. But John says The Straight Story.
He got it. That's it.
So I wish I had a prize to give to you too, John.
Great story. That's such a good. I don't think you've said you've seen that one, have you, Dana?
No, I've heard of that one, but my brain was just like, it was just blocking me. But
really good movie, and David Lynch said that's probably not going to ever happen again. Whenever
right.
So I thought that was funny. I said I'm gonna use that one. So
and it didn't in his lifetime. It never did happen again.
But that was really fun. I like that, and I like people getting involved in that. So if hopefully that's something you guys like too and enjoy, I think that it's something that will be a hit.
I think so too. I'm really, Candice is excited about it. I'm excited about it. It looks like you guys are getting into it, just us doing the single question a piece. And we're going to invite you guys and gals on here too, to try to stump Dana and Candice for totally trivia.
If you got some kind of trivia you want to give to us, hey, we're into it. I love trivia. But we will have a theme each time.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a really cool thing coming up. I don't know if Dana wants to talk about that or not, but
we can, if you don't mind, Candice. We can bring it up. So I had been talking to Candice, and she had brought up, different things. And one of the things she says, like, maybe slasher films from 1980. Yeah. And so I think that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to give each other 5 questions apiece about slasher films from 1980.
Yeah.
Not of the 80s, but just the year 1980.
If you guys have any that you want to save up for when that time comes, Dana will let you know when it's coming up and stuff. It's the next Friday Foolish that we have, I guess, right? And you guys want to try to get some and try to stump us, do that as well. We definitely welcome that.
Unfortunately, speaking of the next time we do Friday Foolish, they've got me working a late Friday this next Friday. So we probably won't be doing it then. because it'll be late by the time that I get off from work. But as long as everything goes well, the next Friday Foolish after that, we should be able to do a full on totally trivia segment.
Yeah. And we still have to discuss. I can't remember if we figured out what that particular Friday Foolish is going to be about. But me and Dana's going to have to talk about it and see what the
Yeah.
theme and stuff. But I'm sure it's going to be something pretty fun. And Dana will let everybody know. Like she always makes the thumbnails and stuff, and
Mhm.
letting people know what the upcoming show is going to be about and stuff. So I'm sure that we got something cool up our sleeve.
Yes, TJ, we want to know the answer to your trivia question. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Please tell us if you want to put that in the chat. I'll put your answer up on the screen for everybody to see. Uh, One arm, Mike and Bob.
Okay. One arm, Mike and Bob.
That sounds like we could make a song. Oh boy. Okay. So hopefully whenever me and Hope do the watch along here in a little bit, hopefully you'll be able to see Hope. Hopefully there won't be a snafu.
Something to do with my phone, maybe.
Well, it could be StreamYard because StreamYard has done some screwy stuff here in the last few days. Um, Chris says you should call the trivia show Foolish Games and have a parody version of the Jewel song for the theme song.
Oh my gosh. My hair, Dana.
Oh, I like it. I guess I just wasn't focusing.
You probably can't see me. It's so dark in here, but I cut probably, I don't know, 2 foot off of it. It was way past my waist. So
Wow, your hair must grow fast, Candice.
I just hadn't had a haircut in like 3
Oh,
years.
really?
So
it looks really good. It looks cute like that.
feels better. So that's
we're going to be getting into hot weather, and Candice is probably going to be glad she cut a little bit off.
But it is getting close to your watch along.
Yeah, I got about a little over 15 minutes before me and Hope start, and I've got the movie on the flash drive. Steve put it on the flash drive for me so that I could watch along because sadly I don't have any other copy of it. And, so yeah, be sure to, if you're at all interested in the Terrifier movies as a whole or Terrifier 3 in particular, me and Hope are going to be talking all things Terrifier 3, and this is going to be my first time viewing, so I'm going into this one completely blind, folks. So this one should be this one should be fun because Hope's already seen it. Hope knows all about it, so she'll be
a wonderful watch along, and I hope that you enjoy the movie.
I hope so too. Or at least that I can laugh and have fun with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you guys will. So,
TJ, yes, I did see the first two, and I love the first Terrifier, but the second one, both Steve and I, as big a horror fans as we are, we looked at each other when it was over and we said that was just overkill. So I'm almost afraid that Terrifier 3 is going to be more of the same, only amped up to the 9th degree. But we'll see. I'm still looking forward to it and looking forward to having Hope on.
Well, you girls, you'll have fun either way. So.
Yeah, I'm sure because Hope's always a lot of fun. She is a joy to have on at any time. John says Terrifier 3 is shot well, but I wasn't a fan. TJ says, "I'll wait till you see 3." Oh,
Yet, so I don't know anything about them.
The first one's really good. It's gory, but it's good, and it's got some creepy moments, has some moments that made me laugh too. But that second one, I tell you. Um, but with 15 minutes to go, I probably should go ahead and get set up for this next one. But I want to thank Candice once again for being my lovely co-host today for Friday Foolish. And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat and everybody that was watching. Uh, we had a very warm welcome. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that were in the chat, that were watching us and supporting us. And stay tuned for more. So, with all that being said, me and Candice are off like a couple of dirty shirts. Our shirts ain't dirty, but we're off like a couple of them. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before we get out of here for now, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday, folks. And if you feel so inclined, hop on over at 7 and visit with me and Hope as we watch Terrifier 3. So we're out of here for now. Bye, everybody. See you next time.